Namaste to all the esteemed organizers, scholars, educators, and participants gathered for the Ninth International Conference on Human Values in Higher Education. I am honored to connect with all the distinguished guests at this year's conference centered around the theme Holistic Value Based Education for a Humane Society. At the permanent delegation of India to UNESCO in Paris, we work tirelessly to promote inter alia India's sustainable development through education, scientific collaboration, and cultural diversity. As we reflect on the concept of holistic value based education, I am reminded of an idea deeply rooted in India's philosophical heritage that education is more than the accumulation of knowledge and skills. It is a journey of self realization, a way to foster wisdom, compassion, and an appreciation for interconnectedness towards Vishwa Bandhutva or universal brotherhood. True education, in its essence, shapes not just informed minds, but compassionate, empathetic individuals who are dedicated to the well being of society and all life on earth. In the context of today's challenges, a value based education is no longer optional but essential. Our world faces a multitude of crises: climate change, social inequality, and diminishing values. Education, therefore, must serve as a bridge, guiding individuals to a deeper understanding of the importance of harmony and inclusivity. A holistic education nurtures this sensibility by promoting critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and universal values that transcend cultural and natural boundaries and promotes Vasudeva Kutumbakam or fraternity. When education is holistic, universal, and rational, it fosters a way of living that is naturally aligned with harmony and well being. It moves beyond the conventional boundaries of subjects and disciplines, encouraging students to see themselves not just as professionals, but as citizens of the world. A truly humane education inspires students to ask fundamental questions. What is the purpose of my knowledge? How can it serve not only myself, but also my community, my society, and the planet? Our challenge today is to create educational frameworks that are not just academically rigorous, but also verifiable in the lived reality of human relationships and our connection to nature. This means embedding value based education into every facet of learning. Students should be empowered to verify and rationalize values through their lived experiences, making these values not just ideas, but guiding principles in their lives. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's guidance, India has Namaste to all.
Thank you, sir, for your virtual presence and blessings for fulfillment of human aspiration. You have rightly drawn our attention that the purpose of education is to bring about an integrated individual who is capable of dealing with life as a whole. Once again, our appreciations and gratitude to you, sir. At the commencement of the Ninth International Conference, we hold in great respect to receive another heartfelt message from Her Majesty, the Queen Mother Gyalyan Shering Pem Wangchuk of Bhutan. While she could not join us in person, her message is a source of great inspiration and a privilege for us all. Kindly play the video, please.
Good morning. Namaste, Kusasangpo. It is with a heart full of gratitude and hope that I address you today. When I first learned about the profound work Sri Ganesh Bagaria and his dedicated colleagues are doing in the realm of value education, I was deeply moved. In October 2017, I attended a 3-day workshop on universal human values. The experience left an indelible mark on my soul. What I encountered during those days was nothing short of transformative. It was a deep awakening to the intrinsic goodness that lies within every being, a path akin to that of the Bodhisattva. These values are not distant ideals, but the very essence of what it means to be human. In Bhutan, we know them as the principles underlying gross national happiness. Universal human values and gross national happiness are two sides of the same coin, both striving to cultivate a world where compassion, wisdom, and well-being are the forefront. Since then, I have maintained a close connection with the UHV team as I see boundless potential in this movement. It was a true honor to participate in the 2018 7th International Conference on Universal Human Values in Higher Education in Thimphu, Bhutan. Today, as we gather for the 9th conference, I am filled with immense joy to extend my warmest wishes to all of you. The fact that this conference is being held online is a blessing in disguise, allowing educators from all corners of the globe to unite in our shared pursuit of a more humane society. In a world that is rapidly losing its humanity, our efforts have never been more critical. Now, more than ever, it is imperative that the Universal Human Values program be woven into the fabric of our education systems. From the earliest stages of life, whether in kindergartens, daycare centers, or early child development programs, through all levels of formal education and even in our workplaces, we must instill these values. Reforming education worldwide is not just necessary, it is urgent. Only then can we reclaim our sanity and our humanity. I firmly believe that each of you here today holds the power to influence a generation that can and will make a difference. With the collective presence of esteemed press members, vice chancellors, and officers from higher education regulatory bodies across various countries, we have the opportunity to extend the reach of universal human values education far and wide. Together, we can create a more harmonious, happier world. I'm deeply thankful for this incredible opportunity to speak to you all. My heartfelt congratulations go out to the UHV Foundation and all the organizers of this conference. May this summit be a resounding success. I wish you all Tashitale and thank you.
Gratitude to the Queen Mother for sharing her views with us as an encouragement. We too owe gratitude to sharing her message from Bhutan. We feel honored for this. And we appreciate the idea of gross national happiness you could see through universal human values. Thank you, Queen Mother, for sharing your message with us. So, again, this journey of conferences, this is going on since very long. But then, how long? How has it evolved over time? So, to explore this journey and the profound purpose of it holds, to guide through, we have with us Dr. Kumar Sambhav. I invited him earlier, but again, I'm inviting him. He is a mechanical engineer from IIT Kanpur, but he has been exploring the proposals of universal human values since last more than 30 years, just to bring about educational reforms through universal human values. So I again welcome Dr. Kumar Sambhav for your sharing. Over to you, Kumar Sambhav ji.
The PPT. No. ना तो वहां से हट जा रहा है. Yes. Namaste everyone once again. So we have the delegates from about 36 countries who have registered for the conference, and I extend my warm welcome to all the delegates attending the conference, all of us who are sitting here and all of us who are connected online. Most welcome from India. So I'm going to give a brief glimpse of the journey. So this is International Conference on Human Values in Higher Education, and this is an annual conference for educators. We started having this international conference from 2012, and we have been holding conferences in face-to-face mode, and this is the first conference in online mode. It is aimed at developing a shared vision and action for humane education, and through that, the emergence of a humane society in which the well-being of all is realized generation after generation. So we can see that education is basically meant for establishing the foundation of a humane society. We want the well-being of all, and how education can be the pillar of such a society is something to be emphasized, is something to be contemplated. So our basic effort is for mainstream education that is holistic and value-based. So when you go for promoting education, which can be a foundation of a humane society, then we have to set certain basic guidelines. So one guideline is that it has to be holistic, that is encompassing all levels of living of a human being and all dimensions of a human being. Similarly, it has to be universal, that is applicable to every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, region, nation, whatever. Next, it has to be rational. It has to be amenable to reasoning. It has to be logical. It cannot be a set of do's and don'ts or a set of sermons. Then it has to be verifiable. Whenever I listen to something, I try to verify it within. So if it is something which is acceptable to me within naturally, and when I go to live accordingly, it is also getting validated in my living, in my behavior, in my work, in my participation, then I become assured. It becomes a part of my understanding. So if you look at the inputs that we are sharing through courses in human values, basically they are meant to initiate the self-exploration among the students, among the faculty, among the management, so that the content that is being shared becomes a part of the understanding. And ultimately, it has to be humane. That is, it has to be ensuring harmony at all levels of living. Now, with this kind of input in education, we can see how such an education system can be the foundation of a humane society. The PPT. So it will result into fulfillment of individual goals for happiness and prosperity through the development of human consciousness. Essentially, we are human beings, but we have to enable ourselves to live with human consciousness. It may be the case that though we are human beings, but we are not able to live to the fullest potential of a human consciousness. So that is one basic requirement for education. Secondly, we can see, as Dr. Vishal was also mentioning, that there are so many problems we can see around the world. There are global menaces, global threats. So how we can resolve the problems at the root? Just by looking at the symptoms will not solve the problem. So essentially, we can see that the problems are there in the society because of lack of right understanding in the people. And when we are able to enable the right understanding through education, then only we are able to resolve the problems at the root. And this will ensure a harmonious human society in which the well-being of all is ensured generation after generation. So we do not have to work only for our generation, but we have to see the well-being of the generations to come, isn't it? Now, at the core, if you look at the content, the basic content of education, we can see that existence is coexistence. Existence is nature submerged in space, and there are so many units in nature, and they are all in harmony. Every unit in existence has a natural and definite participation in the existential harmony. But among the units, we are the human beings. So if you look at all the units in the nature, they have a definite role to play. We also have a definite role to play. But we are not able to play that definite role because we have the potential to know. And unless that knowing is ensured through education, we are not able to play our definite role in the existence. So only human being have the choice here in the existence of how to live. So there are two choices: to understand the existential harmony and live by this understanding with fulfillment, with happiness, or to live without understanding, remaining unfulfilled. What do you think? What is acceptable to you naturally? So we all will naturally accept that, yes, we want to live with fulfillment. But for that, we have to ensure the understanding of the existential harmony. You can also see that we are the only entity in the nature who spend 1/3 to 1/4 of our lifetime getting educated. So why not enable the education in such a way that it can ensure the understanding of this existential harmony? That is the basic aspiration behind education. Human being living without understanding remains unhappy and is a source of problems for oneself as well as others. I hope we all agree to this, isn't it? So to live a life of fulfillment is essential for the human being to understand three things. First, oneself, the human being. If I understand myself, then only I can understand others. If I understand myself, then only I can see my relationship with others. So at the core, I have to ensure understanding about myself. Now, when I go to understand human being, I can see there are two entities. One is the self and the other is body. Can I understand the self as it is? Can I understand the body as it is? So this is a very basic content of the complete course. Then I have to understand the rest of existence in which there is soil, air, water, birds, animals, trees, plants, and I am related to all of them. So can I understand the whole existence? Even there is space, which I want to know. And thirdly, the innate nature of a human being, which helps me know my role in this existence. And basically, my role in this existence is the value. Value is essentially my participation, my role. Every entity in this nature has a definite role, a different participation. We also, human beings, have a definite role, and we have to contemplate upon that. And the education process is basically meant to help that contemplation. We can also see that when I am able to see my role correctly, it is universal. It is applicable to every human being, isn't it? So it is the role of education to facilitate this understanding in all human beings so that they may live with definite human conduct, with fulfillment within, and also contribute to the development of a humane society. Can we see this? Can we see this, that this is our role? And basically this conference is intended to ensure the fulfillment of this role of a human being. So if you look at the journey so far, based on the inputs from many stalwarts, inputs in UHV have developed as a set of proposals, and whatever we are sharing here also is a set of proposal. And in fact, we'll try to have a dialogue as much as possible through this online mode also. So it is a process of exploration within oneself on one's own right. And when I try to explore something within, I can see that there's an innate natural acceptance in me, on the basis of which I'm able to say that yes, this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. For example, if I ask you what is naturally acceptable to you, feeling of respect or disrespect, you naturally accept respect, not disrespect. What is acceptable to you naturally, happiness or unhappiness? So we say happiness. Now just try to find out from where do you get this answer. This innate faculty of yours is your natural acceptance. And when I'm able to see this naturally within me, then I naturally try to live accordingly in my relationship, in my family, with my spouse, with my children, with my friends, with my colleagues at work, with the entire society. And then I'm able to validate in my living. I also try to interact with the rest of nature and see whether the nature is getting fulfilled or not, isn't it? So looking at the journey, going back to 1980, so it started. We tried out with people in all walks of life. We shared the proposals with the people of different sections of society, and we found that they are very naturally acceptable and even effective. It is able to bring about a change in the living. So gradually it developed as a foundation course, and 2005 onwards, this foundation course was experimented in mainstream education, and a team of volunteers started getting built up. And then from one institution, it has spread to about 40 universities by 2012, I'll say, and it has shown very encouraging results. In 2012, we had the first international conference to share the experiences more widely, and we had delegates from Asian countries getting involved in the conference. 2017 onwards, it so happened that AICT took it up on a national scale, and AICT has more than, I'll say, 10,000 institutions under its umbrella, and all the institutions started adopting it. And presently, there are 237 universities which have appointed university coordinators. So many institutions are becoming nodal centers, and now gradually they are being regional centers also. The center where I am sitting here, I am here, is AK Garg Engineering College, which is also a regional center for Uttar Pradesh. And this is something of very high interest to the institutions. Now, just a recap of the journey that we have made so far through the conferences. So the first conference was held at in 2012 at IIIT Hyderabad, and the theme was Universal Human Values. In 2013, again it was held at IIIT Hyderabad. The theme was Universal Human Values. In 2014, it was held at Punjab Technical University, the theme being Universal Human Values. In 2015, it was at GCBS, Gedu College of Business Studies in Bhutan, and the theme was Gross National Happiness. Then in 2016, it was held at Atmi Group of Institutions, the theme being Undivided Society and Universal Human Order. In 2017, we had at IIT Kanpur, the theme was Vision for Humane Education. In 2018, it was at a medical university of Bhutan, and the theme was Holistic Human Health. And finally, the 8th conference was in 2019 at IIT BHU, and the theme was Character Building Through Universal Human Values. The theme for the present conference is Value-Based Education for Human Society, including Sustainable Development Goals. So we thought of including Sustainable Development Goals also, because now it is being widely discussed, and we could see that we have to talk about the fulfillment of the goals at the very root level. Unless the human being gets transformed, the goals are not going to be fulfilled. So we have the volunteers who will be sharing the content in the conference. We'll have 4 keynotes here, through which we'll try to share the entire content of the courses in human values, also the implementation that has taken place so far. Then we'll have sharing sessions. The explorations and the understanding will be shared. So we'll have the sharing by individuals as well as the institutions, and the impact and the transformative experiences will also be shared. In fact, many of them are already there on the YouTube also. You can, anytime when you go to surf, you can see that, and you'll having the sharing live here in the conference. Then we'll have panel discussion with 3 themes: the education, then health, and the sustainable development goals. And we'll have delegates from various countries participating in the panel discussion. The conference will have 51 sessions in 2 shifts to cover the whole world. So once again, my heartily welcome to one and all for the conference. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar Sambhal, for putting this overview of the conference for our participants. From first pilot project at an institution to number of universities nationwide, this simply shows the acceptance for universal human values or value education, because education is the manifestation of the perfection already in a human being. So thank you once again, Dr. Kumar Sambhav. And now we are heartily delighted to greet our guest of honor, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, Chairman of the Executive Committee at NAC, NETF, and NBA, and he is also the former chairman of AICT. Professor Sahasrabudhe has been a driving force in promoting value education throughout the Indian technical education. We welcome you, sir, to the inaugural session of ICHVAG 2024 and request you to share your views with us, the journey you had at AICTE. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manishi. Namaste and good
Namaste,
morning,
sir.
everyone. I know that there are delegates from Asia Pacific nations, Japan, Australia, Africa, more than 36 nations. And just now, Professor Kumar Sambhav has elaborated on how and why we started this program as Universal Human Values Program. Because these are values which are universal, these are humane, and that's why these are universal human values. And before Kumar Sambhav, Dr. Vishal Sharma, the ambassador to UNESCO in Paris, and Her Majesty Gyalum Sangye Soden Wangchuk, the Queen Mother from Bhutan, also spoke about the importance of this very important program. And we are all aware that this is the 9th edition or the 9th International Conference for Leadership Development Program on Universal Human Values. And my salutations go to three important persons who created this entire structure: Dr. Ganesh Bagaria ji, Dr. Sangal, and Dr. Rajneesh Arora ji. All three of them having experimented in their respective places for a long time. As we know, the history of UHV itself in different formats emerged from the year 1980 onwards, whether it was in IIT Delhi or UPTU or Punjab Technical University, IIIT Hyderabad, BHU, all that was brought together in nutshell and was presented in the years 2000 onwards. And it was realized that this is what is necessary for our education system. Well, AICT adopted it right from 2016-17 onwards, because I had myself, as a director of an institute in Pune, had interacted with Dr. Sangal and found that the problems which the students are facing, whether it is in terms of relationships, whether it is in terms of always looking for happiness in high packages, which will only take you nowhere. And we realized that we need to train our students right from beginning when they come into the college or university. One of the very important things which I had my own experience was, whether it is in IIT or whether it is in a college, that students, when they come, they all are aspiring, they are highly aspirational, and the aspiration is only to become richer, to have a higher package. But when we deal with students, we realize other 2-3 things. They come from different backgrounds, some of them from poor background, some from rich background, some come from what we call English medium schools, and some come from their own mother tongue language schools. Some come from very remote areas, rural areas, tribal areas. Some of them come from cities. And there's so much difference between each one of them that diversity is very clearly visible, but still not realized by the students, and they make fun of each other. How do we integrate them? How do we socialize them? How do we bring in human values amongst them? I think the universal human values as the starting program, which we call as induction program, was very, very important. I had been aware of it, but I could do it only in one college. thanks to AICT, which I got opportunity to lead from 2015. And we invited all of these people and created National Coordination Committee. I know Dr. Arora ji is also going to join and also will give lectures on this. Kumar Sambhav has already done it. We have Rajul Asthana ji who is going to speak about it. And also Dr. Sitaram, who is the current chairman of AICT. All of them will give their viewpoints about all of this. But while we were doing all of this from 2017 onwards, 2020 was a turning point from two aspects. Number one, the national education policy came in the year 2020, and it spoke about holistic, multidisciplinary, value-based, rooted in Indian value systems education to be imparted to our students, right from school education to higher education. And many a times I had been arguing that when the students come to the college or university, they are already grown up. They are not even adolescent at times, and therefore, can we really inculcate these values at that late age? Can we not, or should we not start it from the school? And thankfully, the national education policy talks about values right from childhood. That means in the new system of instead of 10 plus 2, what we call 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, all of these aspects are in a way covered. But how do we integrate them? And that is where this whole phenomenon of not forcing anything on anyone, but providing it in the form of proposals and asking students to either self-introspect, explore, or contemplate, and then come out with what they feel about each one of those aspects, makes them really realize the true human values. Because that happiness which everyone wants cannot be successful only if you are happy, but unless the entire society in and around you is happy. And that's why the national education policy or the national government always talks about access, equity, inclusivity. While we certainly want quality, but along with that, this access and inclusivity is very important. And this can be made to realize in the early education part, that is our what we call induction program. When we ask certain questions to students, some of the students who come from rural background are aware of agriculture, horticulture, the manner in which the village life exists, which is akin to very close to nature. And whereas students coming from towns and cities are not aware of that, but whereas they may have better communication skills, they may have better access to some of the tools and technologies. And therefore, if we make them realize that each one of them can collaborate, they can become more happier rather than being individualistic. And that's where the entire human value system, what we talk about, starting with individual happiness to the happiness in the society and the surroundings. And therefore, when we talk about surroundings, a college or university will have some slum or some village nearby. Unless they are happy, we cannot be happy. I think this is also a realization which has to be borne in mind. And then subsequently, from the society to surroundings to the entire, maybe your district, your state, your entire nation, and from nation to the entire planet, and from planet to probably the entire universe. Today, we are going into the space. So the whole concept of consciousness, which is from individual consciousness to the universal consciousness. I think this is what is very reflective, very important, and this is what the Universal Human Values Program is imparting. I'm aware of thousands of volunteers. When we started, actually, there were about a few volunteers, but now there are more than 750, 1,000. The numbers are increasing. Anytime we conduct a program, which is a training program for faculty members, because they have to deal with our induction program. So unless teachers are trained, they cannot go to the classroom and then interact with the students in the same manner as that of making self-exploration or self-introspection by the students. And therefore, we said we start training the faculty members. And that's why 2017 to 20, when it was all in physical form, suddenly one side, as I said, national education policy had come, but on the other side, pandemic broke out. and therefore these physical meetings were impossible. And that is where we needed to innovate, and we started an exercise that whether by using Zoom or Google Meet, can we do such kind of an exercise? And we found that a tool like Zoom was very effective. First, we experimented on ourselves, because when you want to say something to others, we have to experiment on ourselves. We had such a program for only AICT officers during pandemic, and it was so successful that each one of them felt so passionate about it. Then we said that let us explore now for all the colleges and universities, but through the teacher development program or faculty development program. And that is where leadership development program began. And I am very happy that when we were having doubts whether in an online mode can we train so many people, but from starting with hardly small number like 50, we went to 200, and there was a demand that we should also hold it for 1,000 people simultaneously. So one learning lesson which I learned, not just for universal human values, but even for the classrooms or any lectures, talks, or what we call Swayam courses, whichever it may be, in an online mode, if the quality of the teacher who is imparting those skill sets or that education or that knowledge, if he is passionate or she is passionate, you can connect with the masses. I think this is very easily verifiable, seen, and thereby people will get attracted and they will not leave. It is almost something similar to our soap opera in TV shows. We always want to know what next, same way what Professor Kumar Sambhav has said, now what Dr. Raju Lastana is going to say, people will get excited about it. And that is how this particular program has become successful even during pandemic of 2020 to 2022. And now we are open, we continue both in the form of the physical as well as in the virtual mode. That means blended mode. And this has gone a long way. But what we need to understand is this particular program today itself is not just about universal human values, but attached with that is sustainable development goals. This is very necessary because India has committed itself that by 2070, we will be net zero. And this is a challenge. Unless our educational institutions are aware of the entire facet and nuances of it, be it use of the renewable energy, reduced use of energy, recycling of the existing resources, be it water, be it any form of resource that we are using, unless we are trained in that, the students who graduate, when they go out, whether it is in offices of IAS officer or whether they become employees of an industry or whether they become entrepreneurs, go for higher studies, this message embedded in their DNA at the young age. And if we do that, right from school to the college, university education, wherever, whichever profession they start professing, I'm sure they will have element of sustainability or what we call the climate change, which is dangerous, will be embedded in them and they will take care of it. And we want our next generation to be safer, to be better, to enjoy the life, because we want Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the cardinal principles of our ancient civilization of India, which we took it in G20, which we took it in all fora wherever we go. I'm sure Vishal Sharma quite often in the Paris, whenever he speaks in UNESCO, talks about our ethics, values. But somewhere within India, we find that in the schools, colleges, it is somewhere missing. And to bring our system back on track, we have started this very interesting event. And I just wanted to inform all of you that we are indeed to a great extent successful, but still it's a long way to go. We want more and more volunteers, more and more colleges, universities, not only in their own college and university, but go to the surroundings, nearby schools, and inculcate these values. Then our true national education policy will also be successful. The world will become a happy place to live in. We will do the well-being of not only ourselves, but the surroundings, planet, as well as the entire universe. Namaste, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words. It was your encouragement that has paved way to universal human values reach nationwide. And sir, I always remember the term that you coined when Corona was spreading. So you said the human values should spread like Corona as Valuona. This has made an impact in my heart, the term Valuona. And this has become a mission for all of us with all your support and guidance. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
It's now time to introduce our next guest of honor of this session, Professor C. Muthamishalvan. He is Vice Chancellor, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Sir has been instrumental and committed to initiating universal human values in education at his university. We heartily welcome you, sir, for your inaugural address. And let me just remind, because we are running short of time, you have 8 minutes to guide us. Ji, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Ji,
Good
sir.
morning, everyone. Greetings from SRM Institute of Science and Technology. I am honored to address you at this prestigious international conference on human values in higher education. SRMIS's journey to incorporate holistic, value-based education into our curriculum and institutional culture is steadfast and noteworthy because of 3 top reasons. Number 1, committed to imparting values to all, be it students, staff, faculty members, and also the academic leaders. Number 2, embracing a system to nurture human values, thus making everything else worthwhile. And the third one is trying our level best to be an embodiment of human values, both within the organization and outside. Psychologist Shalom Schwartz identified 10 basic values that appear across many cultures: self-direction, stimulation, hedonism, achievement, power, security, conformity, tradition, benevolence, and universalism. I think these values can be grouped into broad categories related to personal growth, social relationships, and the well-being of society as a whole. While all values are important, some are considered core or foundational, shaping the very essence of a person's identity. For example, values like honesty, loyalty, and compassion are often considered core values because they guide many other decisions and actions. Peripheral values like fashion preferences or hobbies are still important, but are less central to a person's ethical and moral decision making. Sometimes human values come into conflict both within individuals and across societies. For example, the value of individual freedom may conflict with the value of societal security. Example, debates over privacy versus national security. Similarly, a person might struggle with conflicting values like honesty versus compassion, when telling the truth might hurt someone they care about. Navigating these conflicts is part of the human experience, and it often leads to complex moral reasoning and growth. Psychologists and sociologists have developed various tools to measure and study human values. These tools help researchers understand how values vary across cultures, age groups, and even individuals, shedding light on human behavior and societal dynamics. Research suggests that values can spread among groups of people through social interactions, For example, if the head of the family strongly values environmental sustainability, they may inspire their family members to adopt similar values. Likewise, values like generosity or kindness can spread through social networks, creating a ripple effect that impacts broader society. Values like perseverance, responsibility, and self-discipline often correlate with personal success in areas such as career, education, and relationships. People who align their goals and actions with their core values tend to be more motivated, make better decisions, and have a stronger sense of purpose, leading to greater satisfaction in life. Overall, our journey towards holistic, value-based education reflects a steadfast commitment to nurturing well-rounded individuals who are prepared for both personal and professional success. As I said earlier, this includes our student, staff, faculty members, and the leaders. Today, our biggest challenge is, as technology advances, particularly in the fields like artificial intelligence, ethical questions about values will become more pressing. For instance, how do we program AI to align with human values like fairness, justice, and respect for privacy? The rapid growth of technology forces us to think critically about how our values should be reflected in the digital world and how we ensure these values are maintained as technology continues to evolve. While we celebrate our success of embracing human values, I urge you to reflect on the following two lines. A world where AI thrives must also be the one where human values flourish. AI can process data, but only human values can process the soul. So to conclude, at the end of the day, our values are what we leave behind. So let them be the best part of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your profound words. The highest education is actually that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. And this is what universal human values is. Thank you once again, sir. Now, we have the pleasant honor of having with us our guest of honor, the chairman of All India Council of Technical Education, Professor T.G. Sitharam, this morning. AICT, taking into account the complementarity of values and skills, has strongly advocated producing value-based humane engineers for a developed and harmonious society. So we welcome you, sir, to this inaugural session, ICHBHE 2024, and keen to listen to your words. T.G. Sitharam, sir. Chairman, All India Council of Technical Education. Is he there, the panelist?
Yeah, Dr. Manishi, presently he is disconnected, although earlier he was here, maybe because of some technical glitch.
Okay, should we wait or we can move on to the next program then? Let's give him a call if he can get connected.
Yeah, try.
We are trying to get in touch with Chairman AICT, Professor T.G. Sitaram. Till then, if anybody wants to share something and reflect on this inaugural session, you are welcome. We can have your observations and reflections.
Dr. Manishi, Chairman sir seems busy with some other commitment, so we can move forward, I think.
Okay. Okay, then it's the time to conclude our inaugural session. And as we conclude the inaugural session of our conference and embark on this journey, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all our distinguished speakers for sharing their wisdom and vision with us today. Your insights have truly set the tone of the conference for the meaningful conversations that will follow over the next 3 days. A big thank you to all our organizing partners, the volunteers, and of course, our audience whose participation makes this conference meaningful today. As we come together virtually, we are bound by a common purpose to weave human values into education, fostering a world that is more compassionate, ethical, and inclusive. All 3 days of this conference are like a beautifully crafted garland, with each session serving as a unique and vibrant flower strung together on a single thread of shared purpose and vision. We shall now have a break of half an hour, and at 10 a.m., let's assemble for the keynote session to understand the core content and the process. Thank you, everyone, once again. Let's meet at 10 a.m. for keynote session. Namaste, namaste, Jai Hind.